So for this technique, we're going to do what's called SGRAFFITO, which is spelled basically Italian for graffiti. And what we're doing is we're carving away a layer of underglaze to reveal the clay underneath. Now, some of these are where we carve the lines in, so you can see in this case that lines have been carved through the underglaze to reveal the clay underneath. All of these that I'm showing you right here have already been fired once. So that has a black underglaze, that's the color it looks like at the moment when it's come out of the kiln, and scratch through to reveal the clay. This is M370, I believe, or it is P300. The same kind of thing here. So building up lines to reveal, to create shapes, and to this one, to create some sort of movement. And then, so that's what we would call is drawing in the positive shape. We're using the lines to draw the actual object. This one is a good example of using it to create the negative space. So instead of drawing lines like I have on the side here, I am revealing the lines by creating shapes from the color and carving away shapes of the negative space, the space around the object. So there is an option. I would like you to try to integrate both techniques in the same piece if possible. This piece that you have seen around the art room is an example of this whole piece. You have seen this before. Let's see if I can fit it under here. I'll raise it up slightly. This piece, this head, dream head, this is all done in that SGRAFFITO technique. So that is what we are working on today. The steps to doing that are as follows. You're going to have one of your pieces. I'm going to just put these under here. I'll leave them out of the way. You're going to take a piece. This is a piece I have already put underglaze on it, so it was ready for this video. And you can probably see some drawn lines. That was drawn with a drawing pencil very, very lightly. So you can see that once it's dry and it's not shiny, the underglaze, you can draw on it and you can see it. That pencil will burn away when it's fired. I wanted to send one of these tools home with you. Completely forgot in all that we were doing. I will show you how it works. If you happen to be at the school and you want to stop by and pick one of these up in the next day or two, please feel free. Now, it takes little curls off. So one of the things that I do want you to do is have some paper towel or some of your plastic underneath so that you're not getting this. I don't want your cat or your dog eating it. If you have another hamster or something, we're not gonna expose them to this type of clay. So this is, when I'm doing this carving away, would be me removing the space around the object. So I am carving away the negative space. Now, take your time with it. Don't rush it. If it's kind of smudgy, this is a little bit smudgy. If it's a little bit smudgy and you want to wait to reveal or to take some of the underglaze off, then there are other techniques that you can work on instead and other things that you can prepare. So what you're doing is you're showing the underglaze, taking the underglaze off and showing the piece underneath. Let's take a quick look at that with the tools that you have at home. So this is like the one that you have, and we'll see how this works. That works, creating bigger lines, which is fine. It's all right if you need to take off some larger spaces. Pay attention to the shape that gets incised and the type of lines that get incised underneath, like from removing the underglaze, because that will, affect your craftsmanship. It will leave an additional line that you may not be thinking of at the time. So yeah, do this. A dry paintbrush is a great thing to have around to get rid of your extra bits and pieces. Do not blow on it. Do not try and get the dust moving around. You want to keep it as clear as possible. So I looked around the art room for other ideas. So this is just a little nail. If you want something that is easier or is smaller to carve with, you can use this. Sticking it into an eraser might be a good way to be able to pull it across the surface. It works actually really nicely, and you can leave some other lines as you do it, which can really be nice. So that works great, that little nail. Found a paper clip, thought we'd give this a try. So we'll see, paper clip works awesome. Look at that. They just curl right off. So you can use the paper clip to do your lines. Works really, really great. That being said, a bobby pin or like a loopy earring might also work awesome as well. So I did mention to you to check around the house and see what other tools you have. For drawing lines, you have your pin tool. Everyone's got one of these. Let's just see. Let's just do some lines here. So you can just go like this, start your lines, start building it up. Now, if you have these burrs and you try and rub them off, I'm going to show you what happens. They get stuck in there. So what you want to do is when you're doing this, if the burrs sit on top and they don't blend in, you want to kind of just brush them away. Now, I can see a dust that comes up, not the healthiest thing, so please be really careful as you're working and avoid, getting dust around. That's why we want to keep stuff off the floor and that kind of thing. So you can build that up, have a lot of fun drawing lines. You can do it where you're kind of integrating the lines and the positive space lines and the negative space lines. What else do I have here? I thought I would try an X-Acto knife and see how that goes. That would be good, I think, for lines. You can change the direction of them. You could have them going wider, and they can go thinner, and that could be really interesting. So an X-Acto knife also works for lines. And if you don't like this, then you could just continue to build up more lines. I wonder, let's see what happens if we use the end of our X-Acto knife. You probably need to bring it in a little bit so it's not too bendy. But if we use the end of our X-Acto knife, we can probably take a decent amount out of the way. And we can, works great. So you've got tools you can use that work really well. As you get to the edges, you want to make sure your fingers are in place, not to get cut though, but to support your plate underneath. If you're just holding it here and putting pressure here, you're going to probably break your plate. So I've used a lot of different techniques in this to kind of show you and see what tools work. Now I'm going to get to the business of trying to integrate all of these marks and making sure that this piece looks interesting. So as you go, please take care. If you're using sharp objects, of course, keep them away from, moving them away from you, not towards you. If you have younger siblings, please make sure you put your X-Acto knife, close it up, and put everything away and keep your things all together. You've got many sandwich bags and Ziploc bags to do that. So this is called SGRAFFITO. This carving away of the lines is you're carving away the negative space. Carving away large spaces, the spaces around the objects, is carving away the negative space. And those are two different techniques that you can try on the same plate. If you've got multiple plates and you want to do one on one and one on the other and make a little bit of a set, the way I have for these pieces. Creating one image that flows together, please feel free to do that.